Hello and welcome to the Strategic Bookkeeper Podcast. Today's episode, I was really excited when one of our tribe members, Tacarra, offered to come on the podcast. We always reach out to our tribe. Coming onto a podcast can be nerve-wracking. Most of us, me included, when I first started guest appearing on podcasts, found it, really hard. So always grateful when our tribe come on the podcast. So in this case, Tacarra's come on as she's got a passion for supporting bookkeepers. Okay, so Tacarra's a startup bookkeeper, but she's also full-time employed. And so she has chosen to start her bookkeeping practice journey as a side hustle. Now, it was really lovely when I got a message from her a little while after joining our transformation program to say that had she not found the program, she probably never would have done this. So that was definitely a moment of pause for me, a moment of gratitude. And in this podcast, she's actually going to share her inspiration for anyone out there who might be working full-time in a job and has a dream in their heart of, as I like to call it, not working for the man, right? And going out on their own, which is usually, it's a pull from your heart. It's a pull from a place of purpose, also known as Dharma. So Tacarra had that dream in her heart. And she actually found my books and my podcast and so on, and she digested it all. And then deciding to go all into the transformation program is what gave her the confidence to start this side hustle. So she wanted to come on to just share some tips, some experience on what it is to start a side hustle bookkeeping practice. It does not matter if you don't join my program to do this. In fact, in the podcast, we definitely encourage you to do exactly what she did. You should be reading my books. You should be listening to my podcast. You should be digesting everything, okay, to get your head around everything and to build that confidence to take that next step. Now, I just wrapped the interview and I'm going to tell you what I told my partner. This was, maybe my favorite podcast I've ever done. And I think it's just because as soon as I got in the room with Tacarra, I guess I realized what I didn't know, even though we work inside the program together, I didn't know how aligned we were, how aligned our values are. And it was just this beautiful, authentic conversation, which is going to be so helpful to startup bookkeepers and to all bookkeepers, because we also go into, and Tacarra shares around mindset. And I just cannot convey how important it is and how impactful mindset is. So you'll hear Tacarra talk about exactly what she does in the mindset area. We'll also dive into niching in a way that you won't have heard me talk about before. I'm going to share a really funny example of niching that is amazing that I just happened upon. So now I'm going to read Tacarra's bio because honestly, word for word, I could not say this better myself. So Tacarra is the founder of My Zen Bookkeeper, a boutique practice serving wellness-based entrepreneurs like med spa owners, fitness pros, and holistic health providers. By day, she works in a corporate HR, but by night and early morning, she's building a business rooted in clarity, calm, and clean books. With a background in coaching and strategy, Tacarra blends practical financial systems with soulful support. She's here to help other bookkeepers realize that you don't have to wait to go all in. Peace and profit can grow together even while working 9 to 5. And even, I'm adding this little bit on myself, even when you've got a little baby on the hip. So jump into the podcast interview with me and let's talk with Tacarra. I'm Jeannie Savage, the Strategic Bookkeeper. I've been in practice for 14 years, but more importantly, 5 years in, I achieved a lifestyle practice. This means I scaled my business, could take my hands off the wheel, and draw a nice 6-figure income while being time rich. And that's what I call my dream on my terms. I was recently awarded Women in Finance Innovator of the Year, recognizing my book, my podcast, my program,
and my impact globally. The Strategic Bookkeeper is my life's work, and the opportunity to help bookkeepers globally achieve the income and lifestyle that sets them free absolutely fills my cup. Please do connect with me on socials at the Strategic Bookkeepers Way private Facebook group, or shoot me an email, hello@thestrategicbookkeeper.global.
Hello to my beautiful listeners. We have got a guest on the podcast today. And as I get started, I am holding a little piece of paper here because our amazing guest, Tacarra, she's in my tribe. Okay, so you're going to hear all about that in a second. But she came up with 3 topics and I was reading over them. And I actually got a little emotional. They're all amazing and they're all really linked to her story. So the topic that I've chosen to dive into today is you don't have to quit to be legit. How to build a bookkeeping brand while still in your day job. And I was reading all about that. I've got some more stuff here that I won't read out right now. And I got a little emotional because I'm big on connection. And when I was reading it, I could feel all these beautiful bookkeepers out there that are in a job. They've got a dream in their heart, feeling all the things that I felt 15 years ago that I often forget about until I read something like this. Like, I'm literally getting emotional now. And I do get bookkeepers say, Jeannie, can I start this part-time? And it's not a question I've answered a lot. It's something that I have hardly ever talked about. And so I'm really excited to have Tacarra come on. She has not long been in our transformation program. By memory, it was probably about February or March that she joined. And as we record this, it is May. So we are going to hear from her today as she seeks to educate me, educate you, educate all of us, and help all of us, especially bookkeepers out there who would like to start that side hustle and grow it into something beautiful, but also get smart from the beginning. So welcome to the podcast, Tacarra.
Thank you so much, Jeannie. It is a pleasure to hold this space with you, and I'm just really looking forward to our conversation.
Beautiful. Okay, so I think it's going to be really helpful for the listeners, for me, for everyone. If you just start by sharing what's in your heart relevant to, who you are, where you've come from, and what you're doing right now.
Yeah, so I'm in the United States. I currently live in San Antonio, Texas with my family. I've been married for 4 years to an amazing Nigerian American. His name is Aziz. We have a beautiful 10-month-old little boy named Zachariah, who you often see in our implementers and within the tribe. So yeah, in the trenches, been in corporate my entire career, going on 19 years or so. Currently work for a Fortune 40 health insurer here in the States, and in my role as an HR business partner full time. And in addition to all that, I'm working to build my bookkeeping practice on the side with the help of this beautiful tribe that I'm so privileged to be a part of. Building that Ferrari, getting it right from the very beginning in this startup that we call My Zen Bookkeeper.
Yes, yes. And actually, I've got your website up here. Love it. And you and I were talking. I know I was posting in our Facebook group, encouraging you around partnerships and how to think big and that kind of thing. So just looking at your website, I love it. We're going to talk about micro niching and so on. And yes, you're new to the tribe, and I love that you talk about building a Ferrari. And today, as we talk about the bookkeepers who haven't started yet, that's what this is all about. If you are a bookkeeper in practice, there's lots to take from the Ferrari analogy, because if you're a bookkeeper in practice, then you may be the busy but broken bookkeeper, or you may be the struggling bookkeeper. And in that case, you are likely to have a bit of a broken down car speeding down the highway, unless you've got to what we call the scaling archetype. Okay, so there's always lessons in what it's like to be a startup, come into the tribe and build a Ferrari, okay? Because I built a broken down car. And I really think of all the archetypes that I've created for bookkeepers, which is startup, the struggling, and then the busy, which is book but broken, and then the scaling. They all have their challenges, but I've been everyone, and I can tell you the busy book but broken, in my opinion, is the hardest. So you can listen to maybe a few tips on how you can avoid that by just learning from a startup who's building a Ferrari. So Tacarra, it's clear that you have a passion for mindset. And I would love to, what do you want for those bookkeepers out there who are in a job wondering, can I start a side hustle? And how can I do it smart rather than the hard way and build the broken down car?
Well, we'll just get right straight to it. You 100% can build a thriving bookkeeping practice in addition to your corporate job. And the hack to that is partnership and mentorship. So the tribe has really accelerated what I need to do from a sales and marketing and system standpoint to operationalize my practice. Right before I joined the tribe, I went to Tony Robbins' Unleash the Power Within, and it just really got me fired up about how, if you want to go far and fast, you need to find the people who are in that industry and who are doing it very, very well. And when I read your books, Jeannie, I'm like, she's my person. That is my mentor. And I had listened to one of your podcasts and you talked about Tony Robbins. And I'm like, this is the universe giving me a wink. She is my person. And I signed up on the spot. And I just tell you, when you are managing your career, you don't have much time. So you got to really be smart and intentional about how you approach it. And it's through being a part of this tribe that I've been able to successfully do that with the blueprint, building my website, understanding how to find clients, building my sales and marketing database and channels. So yeah, all the things. You can completely do it one step at a time.
So that's really interesting. What I'm hearing there is about being smart, right? And I want to expand on that and also just talk about the fact that you've chosen to niche and almost micro niche, right? But in terms of being smart, in your own words, can you expand on that? I mean, I know that is also everything you get inside the program. And this episode is absolutely not a program pitch, but we can't avoid talking about it because I guess it's a part of how you've been smart. You're like, okay, I've got the blueprint, I've got the 5%. Now I can just go boom, boom, boom. For everyone listening, I'm not sure if I ever make this crystal clear. This is a network. So when you come into the program, you're joining the Strategic Bookkeeper Network, right? So it's a licensed membership program and you become part of a network. Therefore, we give you everything. It's a done for you and then done with your program. So expand on, I guess, how you would work smart versus how you wouldn't work smart.
Well, me not working smart would be, I want to be a bookkeeper and I go on YouTube and I go down different rabbit holes about different programs that I can get plugged into. And I get so overwhelmed that I do nothing. And then my dream just sits
inaction. Yeah.
Versus the opposite of finding a mentor. Success leaves clues, right? Finding someone who's doing it very, very well at a very high level and how you can learn from them so that you can minimize the mistakes that you make and build that Ferrari from the beginning versus a hoopty that's rolling down the highway with 3 wheels, right?
Yeah, like I did. Yeah.
It's so for me, okay, I have 5 hours, after my workday and I get my sundown. How do I maximize this time? And through having a blueprint, you're able to see, if I just focus on these top 5, 10 things, I can really move the needle. And if I break it down even further and I focus on what's one thing I can do today, just one thing to work on my business to better myself, then that's doable. And then it compounds over time. And, here we are 90 days later and I have my website up, I have my marketing and my socials going, and I've already landed my first client. So it's just really taking it one thing, one tactic at a time.
Okay, so that is amazing. And one of the words that I loved was focus, right? Focus and one thing at a time, because this is the thing. It's so easy to go, there's so much. Like I say in my new book, it's like, I can't do this. I'm overwhelmed. And it's this self-fulfilling prophecy, right?
100%. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because it does. You are striking me as someone like me who knows that comparison is the thief of joy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Shame is the human condition. I know sometimes when I show shame, people say, you're showing shame. And I go, yeah, no, I have it. It's in all of us. Because I accept it and I sit with it and I rumble with it, then it doesn't take a hold of me as much as other people. So for everyone listening, honestly, when you read the Bookkeeping Practice Blueprint, which is my newest book, I go into this, I give you the headlines, things like Tony Robbins is phenomenal, Brene Brown, Mel Powell, Mel Robbins, all these amazing people. And actually, Tacarra, and I want to sit on mindset for a minute. It was only yesterday. And even when you said, oh, I mentioned Tony Robbins, it was kind of like a sign from the universe. This is how I show up. This is how I absolutely show up. And yesterday, I felt a trigger for myself and an opportunity for personal growth. And so this morning I journaled, and it was just in between, like running around the house, doing things. And I used a voice to text journal and I journaled it all out, because when you can find an opportunity to optimize that mind health, you know what I mean? Like we take vitamins and go to the gym and all this stuff for our body. When you can have an opportunity to build your brain in that mind gym. And I went to my partner and I said, honey, I just worked through all this stuff. I'm so excited. So for everyone out there, please don't think it's all the mechanics, because to me, it's clear that Tacarra is starting with this value around investing in building a strong mindset. Would you agree with that, Tacarra?
100%. And for me, it's grounded in meditation. Like I've been a consistent meditator since 2014. I mean, I've meditated with monks. I've been on retreats around the States, all the things. So it's that intentionality. And it's like, if I'm building a business, then I am the business. So I need to show up authentically and fully. So it's from that energy space that I pour into my business and build from there.
Definitely. And meditation for a lot of people is massive. Journaling for me is massive. And just quiet time. I have these rules, like I never eat at my desk. When I came home last night from the gym, I sat down and I ate in silence. And it's that same kind of meditation, right? It's just breathe. And that's when I had some of that personal growth. So I feel like everyone's starting to get that message now. Now, what I'd love to talk about, and for all the listeners, so every week in the podcast, we drop in a link to the one-page bookkeeping practice blueprint. Okay, so grab that, because what Tacarra is talking about is we get you to nail the left-hand side. Tacarra's holding it up. I look at it every hour of every day.
Me too.
And it's like, I built it and I still look at it every hour of every day. It's on my screen right now. And so what happens when you don't find the mentor, the program, the support, the assets? Well, then usually you go hustle. What I did early on, and what most of us do, is we scrappy hustle for a client. And one of our members, I'm sure she won't mind I mention her, Taryn, she had brought on one client when she joined us, and I chose to work intensively with her. I remember doing the grocery shopping, being on the phone with her, and she said to me, Jeannie, the pain from just bringing one client on wrong. And I'm like, I know. So we have a moment of empathy for the bookkeepers with 20 clients that they brought on wrong? And I'll take that moment of silence for those bookkeepers. But for you, Tacarra, in a moment, I'd love to hear about that client, because you've nailed that left-hand side, and I'll just read the moving parts out. So the foundation is your signature brochure, your social media, your website, which is a brand sphere, which is your value proposition, right? You know how to run the financial management. You've got this incredible products and pricing suite. We've got the product ladder in there, and you've got your conversion process. So tell me about the new client you found, and what did you do with that person when they knocked on your door?
Well, following the blueprint, I leaned into networking. Because believe it or not, Jeannie, I'm not a social media person. I created socials when I joined the tribe, because it's just, I don't know how to explain it, but I just never really been into that. So it's been a growth mindset for me to even put myself out there, because I'm just not, I'm a super private kind of person. So instead of BNI, I got on Alignable. So alignable.com is essentially a virtual online networking that's similar to BNI, but more loosely focused. But it's about building relationships and referrals. So leveraging the strategies I learned in your program, I just put myself out there, put the fillers out there, led with adding value, joined some mastermind groups, and just really showed up and added value within the mastermind and connected with a potential client. She was like, I would love to meet with you for 15 minutes to talk more. And literally in that first conversation, she was like, I don't know what it is about you, but I've already spoken to 3 other bookkeepers, but you're my person. I'm going to hire you. Do you have Zelle? Can I pay you right now? But I think it's just that surround sound. When people go to your website, they see your offering, they look at the brochure, and they're like, oh, this person is buttoned up. They're all together. Not knowing that I'm dealing with, like you said, the gremlins and the imposter syndrome, because I'm not a bookkeeper by trade. I'm an HR professional. But when you have that surround sound, when you have that marketing layer, it gives so much confidence to potential clients that it's almost like they're just naturally drawn to you. So it made it
Mm.
easy for her to say yes. And then I quickly, because I had the blueprint, oh, I got a new client. What do I need to do to onboard them? So I set up my ignition and I put in the proposal and sent the proposal and got a signed engagement and got the first payment. It just really went really fast and it was really seamless. And I'm just blown away at how seamless it can be when you have the right systems in place, you know?
Amazing. And I might even ask you a few more questions about that. So did you use the needs analysis when you first met with, is it her?
Yeah,
Yes.
yes.
Okay, fantastic. And how did you find that?
It was more so a conversation. So what
Yeah.
I did, I looked at the needs analysis template and I memorized kind of like what to look for because I felt like it would just give me more credibility as a
It's
business owner. If
easy.
I'm able
Yeah.
to have a conversation, say, hey, boom, 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 and
Mm.
just qualify her right then and there. But I
Yeah.
think that's
Yeah.
led to her wanting to say yes so quickly because it's like,
Yeah. Okay.
wow.
I love dissecting this stuff. Did you lead with tell me about yourself, or was it more what do you need?
I led with what was the biggest pain in her business. And that opened
Okay.
her up
Yeah.
from an emotional standpoint to tell me like she felt overwhelmed. She didn't really know where to start. She really just needs somebody who can kind of come in and help her clean things up.
Amazing. And it is almost another version of tell me about yourself, right? I'm always
Mhm.
interested because I say that in the needs analysis, you're at a fork in the road. And the thing that you don't want to do that I did for the longest time was say, what do you need? Because that leads to what do you cost and also and all these other things. So that's really interesting. What is the biggest pain in your business? And that's a question that we should be asking everyone, whether it's at the beginning. I mean, that's our 20-minute call process, right? With your clients where you
Mhm.
kind of go, come on, let's catch up. Let's find out about your hopes, your dreams, what's going on.
Yeah.
So, okay, I love that. And, this is a nuance that most veteran bookkeepers, as well as startup bookkeepers, wouldn't understand that the devil is in this detail. And that when you use a structured needs analysis and you learn to connect human to human and emotionally with that prospective client, which is what is the biggest pain in your business? What are your hopes and dreams? Tell me about yourself. What's happening for you? Not what do you need? Because they don't know what they need anyway, right?
They don't know.
That's our
They don't know.
job. We're the doctor.
Exactly. We're the doctor. And when you lead with those heart-centered questions, you're connecting with them. Because I need my
Yes.
goal is to build rapport and trust very quickly. She doesn't know me, but in the next day or so, once you onboard, I'm asking for read access to your financial details. So I really need you to feel confident that I'm the right person for you. So yeah.
Yeah, amazing. Okay, so then you used Ignition software. I use Ignition software as well. It makes everything a lot easier, doesn't it?
So slick. And
Yeah.
the package that it puts together in the PDF, I'm like, this is making me look like a rock star. You wouldn't even know that this is
Whoa.
my first time doing it. And I just
Yeah.
felt every step is affirming, like, okay, I can do this, you know?
Wow, I love that. Every step is affirming. So then did you sell a file health check first?
I went into more so like once I did the needs analysis and I found out what she needed, I went straight
Yes.
into setting up her QuickBooks because she's like never
So she
worked with
didn't even have
Yeah.
a file. So you went
Yeah.
straight into the file setup. Amazing. And now where are you at with the client? Are you into the bookkeeping? What are you doing?
So we got her set up for QuickBooks, and now we're just into that monthly rhythm where I'm getting plugged in, and we'll start our monthly cadence of doing our reporting.
And can I ask you, if you hadn't have joined the program, what would have been the difference? Like, would it be kind of, I wouldn't have known networking, or I wouldn't have known how to sell to that client, or would it have been, I just wouldn't have started this thing? What would
I
be the
wouldn't have
difference?
started.
Yeah.
Jeannie, I would not have started because you wouldn't know where to go.
Yeah.
I did all the training in the States. We primarily use QuickBooks. So I got my
Yes.
pro
Yeah.
advisor and all those things, but that more so teaches you how to sell their software, not how to be an amazing bookkeeper and build trust. That
Yeah.
bridge skill set, that's a huge jump. So if I didn't have the
Okay.
blueprint, I wouldn't have the confidence to take the next step.
Okay, really, really interesting and beautiful for me to hear, because the idea that giving women out there, men as well, I'm a woman that relates to women. I'm a woman that's passionate about supporting women, especially being a mom of a neurodiverse. I just heard neurospicy, a neurospicy child. I'm neurospicy for
I'm
sure.
spicy.
I guess I always think of the women, right? So if I think of putting that blueprint in the hands of other women and getting them to join the program because it's ridiculously affordable, right? If that could inspire them to step into that dream of not working for the man, but working for themselves, for me, that is beautiful. So thank you for that.
It is certainly the bridge. And I'm grateful for my corporate career. It's funding my dreams. So I'm at the season in my life where now that I'm a mom, I don't want to be tied to Zoom meetings all day. I don't want to have to hide that I have a small child who's still nursing, like I want to own my time and create the kind of lifestyle that we can travel the world and I can work from anywhere with this bookkeeping practice. So that's
Yeah,
the
it's
goal.
why most of us do it. At the beginning, I was like, yeah, I'm going to be a mum. So I think I'll narrowly focus on bookkeeping of all the things that I've done. And then I never knew how important that would be, right? Because it's been a different journey with him and he goes to school from home and all that kind of thing. So it's a similar journey for all of us. And I love that in the tribe, we often have mums nursing in the implementers. Even our beautiful customer success manager, Demi, has a little baby now. And, my partner was like, did you just say you're having a meeting with Demi? Didn't she have a baby 3 days ago? And I'm like, yeah. And is it okay if we put mum in charge of whether they work or not? Because how
That's all right.
isn't it true? Because, we think about maternity leave. Well, nobody ever asked mum, what would you like to do?
That's so true.
Yes, business actually said, oh, look here, mum, off you go. You need to go on maternity leave for this amount of time and come back at, what, does baby need you less at 6 months?
Right.
It frustrates me because can't we let mum decide? I said to Demi, because she said, I don't know what I'm going to want to do. And I said, you actually won't until it pops out.
Exactly. That's exactly it.
Yeah, you might be like, oh, actually, I really just want to keep working with baby on the hip, in the bouncer, on the Bjorn. Or you might say, do you know what? I've just decided I want to disconnect from work for a period of time. And I said, we can kind of figure it out on the fly, right? And fortunately for me and for our team, because we love her so much, she is loving her baby is just beautiful and
He's
going
so
really
beautiful.
well. Yeah, because you
Yes.
never know to get a refluxy one. Mine was when he was little, I did find working around him and with him quite easy. So I worked up until the day before I had him at the
Oh,
table
wow.
and telling people I was going to take meetings in a week. And then I was always pretty good. And it was the GFC anyway. So what choice did we have? Okay, I love that. Now, I do want to touch on niching, but before we do that, is there anything else in terms of those beautiful women and men out there working in jobs, feeling like I really want to do my own thing? And it's a dharma, it's drawn from a place of your heart. Anything else that you want to tell them to help them with how they can make the decision, but also just make it all easier and take that first step?
Yeah, I would certainly say believe in yourself. I mean, that's the first thing. And then two, know that you can do this. Like you can time block. You can find a way to focus on one thing a day that can help you grow your business or learn more about whatever industry that you want to get into. And then find mentors. There's a lot of free work, free resources out there. If it's bookkeeping
Yep.
for you, Jeannie's books are phenomenal and really lay out you giving the game for free on what to do. So if you're more of a do-it-yourselfer kind of person, just pick up those books. It's right there.
Yes.
Success leaves clues. Take
Yep.
action.
I love that because that's what I always have thought. I've thought, okay, if you're someone out there and you're like, I just want some help, but I'm not ready to throw money at anything, that's an important place to be. That's step one. Then
Mhm.
getting both my books and not just getting them and not reading them. I've been doing on average, especially just recently, probably 7 hours of education a week, but it's
Wow.
this habit stacking, right? So it's at the gym, in the car, hanging upside down in my yoga hammock, stretching my neck on my blue gremlin, I call it. And my partner's like, how the hell do you absorb so much? And I'm like, it's habit stacking, darling. While I'm doing one thing, I learn. So grabbing my books, doing all the audio books, doing every single podcast, particularly 74, 5, 6, 7. If you're a startup or anyone, you must do those because the foundation that you will learn from that is phenomenal. And then also interacting, like 74, 5, 6, 7 are made off the beautiful Rose in the transformation program right now. Before she joined, she bombarded me with questions, right? Like so many. I was like, what, man, I need to reserve time to read these emails. It's amazing what happens when you reach out and say, help. I've watched Ted Lasso twice, and late in the series, one of the characters says, I think all we can do is ask for help and accept it when it's needed.
Yeah, that's it.
Wow.
That's
Amazing.
it.
Yeah.
That's it.
And yet how many of us have the shame gremlins, keep us from putting our hand up and saying, could I have some help? So step one, believe in yourself, and then know that I believe in you. Grab all my content and start using that so that you can ready yourself. Because if you do all of that and then you join my program, you will absolutely take off like a Ferrari, because you need the base of knowledge anyway. It is such a massive value in digesting all of that first. Okay, thank you for those amazing tips. So now, and I won't keep all the listeners too much longer, but I would love you to tell us, how did you end up deciding to niche? Why did you decide to niche, and what do you think the benefits, anything about niching, and what is niching? Start with that.
For me, it's about picking a lane that feels authentic to me, that's easy, that I can just flow in. And for me, health and wellness, that is who I am. Like, I'm a meditator. I'm into wellness. I'm at the spa once a month. I get my facials, all the things, right? So for me, it's like play. And that's how I landed on health and wellness, because those are all the things that I love.
Brand story. So it's really the start with you, right?
Start with you and branch out from there. Some people, they pick niches based off of profitability or, where they feel the market is moving. But for me, building a values-based business, I want to be able to just show up and connect with clients in a way that doesn't feel like it's forced. Being a health and wellness connoisseur and growing up, my MBA and all that is all health focused. Working for a healthcare company, that's just my lane, my expertise, where I can easily flow and add the most value and make an impact. And I think when you focus on who you can serve the best based off of how you show up, then everything else falls into place for you. The money will come at some point. But my first instinct is, how can I take care of who's standing right in front of me? And how can I pour into them in a way that's life-giving?
Yes. Okay. And look, for everyone, niching is always going to be kind of like the holy grail, right? Now, I built my bookkeeping practice without a niche, and I'll explain a bit more of that in a second. We've got members of our tribe, not a lot that niche like you do. So there's niching and there's micro niching. So I'll explain with Tacarra. If you imagine your market is a dartboard, so for Tacarra, on the outer edges of the dartboard would be anyone she can help. Then as we move in, it would be like service-based businesses of a certain size. Then we would get more into that health and wellness. And then the dartboard would be that ideal, repeatable health and wellness client. Okay, so Tacarra's chosen a niche. And if she was to go micro niche, just for example, it might be, I help self-employed naturopaths, right? So so that's where we go from niche to micro niche. Now, I'm going to point out a few things that make niching work really well. So number one is you become a specialist. And I've got a great story for that I wanted to share with everyone. So I have just cut my hair all short. Tacarra can see it. So I've got this short curly mop now. This shirt. I've embraced the curls in this new season of my life. I call it the grandma season. And I love my little curly mop, but I want to get a little bit of advice and get it tidied up. So I Google curly hair specialist, Gold Coast, where I live. And there, of course, there's hardly anyone. This is a micro niche. And the lady that I found, I thought, okay, look what she does, right? So what would you expect to pay for a haircut? Because I go to a lady now, she charges me, I don't know, $70 for my haircut. So this lady encourages you to book your first appointment for the bargain price of $480.
Bargain. That's the value of niching down.
So what's the first thing I think when I see that? And what is the first thing you would think, Tacarra, if you saw a specialist charging a lot of money?
She must be very good at what she does, the best of the best.
Exactly. So the first thing our brain does is go, wow, this is like the Olympic champion of curly hairdressing. You might go, holy cow, I need a second mortgage for that. But ultimately, all it does is go expert, high value, whether I decide to pay for it or not, which absolutely, I'm running to that salon today. She hasn't called me back, so I'm literally going to go in there. That's how in demand they become, right? You're like, please take me. Please take my $500 and cut my hair, right? And so microneedling. And her cheapest service that she only lets you engage in if you're a returning client is $180, right? So benefit one of microneedling, you become an expert and a specialist, and the perceived value as well as the actual value is massive. And unfortunately, oftentimes the perceived value of your service, no matter what you're doing, bookkeeper or anything else, your perceived value can end up a lot lower than your actual value. We want your perceived value at the level of your value or higher. So that is number one. Number two, with niching, I talk about a formula, and for every startup bookkeeper, listen up if it's a dream in your heart, because this is what you need to do. And it's my formula, and it goes start with you, who, where, why, what, how. Okay, so you can pause the podcast, go back, listen to that. Tacarra just showed you, start with you. This is authentically all about me. I have a passion for this group. Look at my history, right? Then who? So naturally, who is health and wellness? Okay, so this, as you can imagine, this hairdresser has glorious curls. And then you go, you, who, where are they? Oh my goodness. So when you niche or micro niche, and when I saw that Tacarra had niched, because not many of us do as bookkeepers, I said, oh, Tacarra, oh my goodness, there's this massive opportunity for you to contact partners, because all your ideal clients are like beautiful, fluffy white sheep that are herded into one place, right? They are all at wherever they use it, you know, whether it's a health food store, whether it's a software company, whatever it is, they're all in one place. And so if Tacarra was to show up in that place and offer up, you know, a high value piece of education, like, would you like me to do a complimentary training for your database on, you know, how to fix your cash flow woes, or how to do this, how to do that? And of course, these brands are just like chomping at the bit for this kind of value for their stakeholders. And suddenly Tacarra can get in front of 10,000 of her ideal clients at one time. So in terms of you, who, where, that is really the main key benefits of micro niching. And if I was pointing out one more, Tacarra could then easily diversify her services into a one-to-many coaching model with intellectual property, because when you micro niche, your clients are all in the same kind of journey and place, and you can help them all at once. You cannot do that when you don't micro niche. Okay. So in my bookkeeping practice, where I don't micro niche, I offer one-on-one coaching, because I can't do one-to-many. I mean, I could do some, but at the Strategic Bookkeeper, because Tacarra, I just did the sums on the value of what we give you inside the program, and it's $271,000 worth of stuff, right? Which I know you would go, but you can't do that. I could give me that for about $5,000 a year. It's a one-to-many. If everyone leaves me, I can't do that. I couldn't give that to one. The team I give you is $100,000 a year, right? I need a certain amount of bookkeepers in front of me to help to be able to give you $271,000 in value. But that's micro niching. So I'd love for you to tell me your comments, questions, suggestions, because I'm sure some of that was like, okay, that makes total sense, but maybe it's new.
I'm tracking, and that is my goal, to, you know, create some intellectual property, because I think about the time freedom and being able to step away from the day-to-day grind of being a bookkeeper. Like, that is where the path is, and that's passive income, making money in my sleep if I can get there.
Yes, definitely. And I think the place where it works is micro niching, you know. So I'll encourage you, Tacarra, to have a look at James Wetmore, Mind Your Business podcast. The recent episode called Should I Build a Digital Product? And he actually goes into where the industry's going. So some people are saying that e-learning, which is like courses, resources, digital products, is saturated. He says absolutely not. It's actually going through a sophistication. And then if you look at the stats, e-learning, all these things, it's due to explode. Like they've got all the projections on where it's going in the future. And I even think, Tacarra, when, 15 years ago when I started, there wasn't a lot. I remember I bought a system and they sent me some manuals and the marketing was terrible. The SOPs were great and that system exists today and the SOPs are still quite good, although we get told that ours are easier to follow. But these days, like if I was younger, starting out, I'd be looking for a course, a resource, a program. And I think that's where we go as business owners now. Give me some e-learning.
Absolutely. 100%.
Especially since COVID, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I just think about the thousands I've personally spent on courses. And to your point, some are great, but most are not.
Yeah, I've spent the last year on courses alone in excess of 15,000 for my business. And it's funny, we bought one thing for 15,000 and it was good, but we've got to change a lot of the strategy. And then I just bought something which would be great for you once you go into the digital products. It's, can't remember, Heart, Soul, Hustle. He's in America. Amazing. Oh my goodness. And I bought something for about 500 US, right? Or 400 US. And it is dazzling, like just dazzling. It's a challenge thing that you can use to sell courses and resources. It's my go-to as well. I love to buy courses and resources and enroll in programs. And so I think absolutely this will continue to explode. But I think for all bookkeepers out there, if you're in practice, you don't have a niche, look at 70% of who you're serving. That's probably your niche. So I did that years ago and I actually realized, all right, they're tradies. And then I went down the rabbit hole because what I love doing is, like Tacarra was saying, she's connected from the beginning to why she's serving who she's serving. Sometimes I reverse engineer it. So I went, okay, I serve tradies. These are men, they're dads, they're in their early 40s, they've got kids at school, they've got wives that are kind of supporting them, but mainly supporting the home. And then I looked at the impact of my work and I realized that if I could help this dad do better in business, he was a better dad, he was a better husband. And it was like, I feel it. I feel the connection. You've got to find the heart connection. And my partner, he mainly helps Aussies buy property and super, but property investment generally. And again, he was feeling this lack of connection. And is it just about money? So I did his brand story. And his mum, at 12 years of age in Peru, she came home, all her things were on the front yard. The family was at risk of homeless. And at 12, she vowed never to be homeless. And she built a property portfolio as a single mum. And she took 50 of her family from Peru to New Zealand to start a new life. And I'm like, hello, brand story.
Right? I got goosebumps. Jesus.
Oh, and I'm like, did you see how you ended up in property? And he's like, no, it's purpose-led. And he's just gone deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper, Yeah, the purpose before the profit. Profit is the byproduct of doing something well.
Yep, 100%.
Yeah.
Yes.
Miss Tacarra, that was awesome. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast. If somebody would like to connect with you, can you tell us where they can find you and reach out to you?
Yes, you can find me on LinkedIn, Tacarra Ganiu, or just come to my website, myzenbookkeeper.com.
And we'll drop all of that in the show notes. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, my friend, now it is time to take action. So what are you going to do with what you learned today? The way I see it, you've got two options. You can go it alone to try and save some money, or you can back yourself and go for it and join my tribe. And let me tell you, we are knocking it out of the ballpark. That's not a sales pitch. That is me serving you, dare I say, courageously. To find success, I 100% know you need the mechanics, which is like the keys to the kingdom, but you also need to get your mindset right and be super productive. And these are all things I help you with inside the program. I could go on about this forever because I really want this for you. Have a prosperous week, and I'll see you in the next episode.